the channel, guys. Thanks for tuning in once again. Let's take a look at Blade Runner 2049 from the year 2017. As we see the same kind of message just like in the original Blade Runner from 1982 with the Tyrell Corporation that has created replicants and with some new additions to the once Tyrell Corporation, since we all know. And we also see the new CEO of the Tyrell Corporation, Niander Wallace. As we also know, Meldon Tyrell has been killed by Roy Batty in the original. Makes sense why Wallace took it over, and has also taken the replicant idea to a whole new level of innovation. So enough of that essay. Now on to the movie. As you see, Blade Runners are still a thing in the year 2049. So we have returned to Los Angeles, California in the year 2049. As you see the same kind of flying vehicle like Rick Deckard drove with Gaff in the original. So we now see the ship being landed here in this farm-like area. As you see this guy, a replicant, produced by the new taken over Tyrell Corporation CEO, Niander Wallace, and his name is Morton, or Sapper Morton, played by former WWE and UFC athlete Dave Bautista. So Morton walks inside the house and hears a new Blade Runner's voice, and after putting on his glasses, sees that it's that very Blade Runner, Officer K, played by Ryan Gosling. So Officer K questions Morton if he is a replicant, but Morton says no, and that he just farms protein. But Officer K is really there to take in Morton. It doesn't matter if he is a replicant or not. As Officer K now takes out his eye recognition device. So full-on fight breaks up as Officer K got what he needed after scanning Morton's eye. So Kid tells Morton not to get up and still does, and kills him. Oh yeah, K does have a knife stab wound on his right arm and now washes the blood off his hands. So he walks out, now gets in his flying car, now calls him Captain Joshi, played by Robin Wright. She's like the Captain Bryant of this movie, just like in the original Blade Runner from the 80s. What's his name? M. Walsh played him. And Officer K even got Morton's eyeball cut out and steps out to take this wheat-like flower. He even spots a box buried in the ground. So yeah, Officer K works for the LAPD, just like Rick Deckard, only they're called Blade Runners, they're not called cops. So he travels back to the LAPD headquarters and even lands in the same way, just like Rick Deckard did. Before I move on, only 30 years have gone by since the original Blade Runner, so we are, in 2049, while the original takes place in 2019. Now walks and gets a hate comment from this clown. Now enters his training seminar where he says the word cells repeatedly. I don't know why. So he's done and did all that for a bonus, trapped inside the soft room, cushiony room. And now he goes home and walks past these guys who look homeless. We now hear Kay's girlfriend speaking as he walks in. Now takes care of the stab wound on his right arm caused by Sapper Morton. Now takes a quick shower. Pretty fast there. And now in the kitchen waiting for his food that he made. And now we see Kay's girlfriend walk out with the dinner she made. And of course she's not real. Her name is Joy, played by Ana de Armas. Yeah, she is holographic. Sort of like Plankton's wife from SpongeBob, but even though she's like a robot. Okay, so she changed into a bunch of outfits and he wants Kay to read her. But he got a gift for her. And it's called an emanator. I think it's a music setting or environment setting device for Joy, but it's meant for her to go on vacation. And yes, Joy is created by the Wallace Corporation. That's how Officer K has Joy in the first place. That's his product for single dudes. And now the two are outside in the rain, probably on the roof of the building where they live. Well, that's pretty awkward. Now Officer K is getting a message, a voicemail from Captain Joshi. And now in the forensics department, as everyone here is observing a murder skeleton, as Dr. Coco, the forensic doctor, here tells the Blade Runners that the skeleton belongs to a girl who died while she was giving birth to a child. But the child escaped on time right before the woman died. Now spoil it right now for you guys, this body actually belongs to Rachael, the so-called replicant from the first Blade Runner, whom Rick Deckard was in love with. So she was a real human, and not a replicant after all, and have even found a replicant serial number connected to Rachael's skeleton. So Joe, she's concerned and wants Officer K here to eliminate that child that was given birth by this replicant, who she thinks is a replicant, but who's now a skeleton out of here, since replicants have become more dangerous in Los Angeles in the year 2049, especially with the presence of Neander Wallace. So Officer K now takes Rachael's serial number and put him to the new and improved Wallace Corporation for more info on Rachael. Officer K hands this guy working there her hair sample, and the guy that's working that tells Officer K that this will be hard to find. Now we meet Neander Wallace's secretary or assistant, Love, played by Sylvia Hoeks, speaking with a client and sees a call on her tablet. So now the guy working at the front desk takes Officer K to the record room to find Rachael's records. Now Love steps in and introduces herself. And yes, she is a replicant too, created by the Wallace Corporation, what once used to be the Tyrell Corporation.
My mom still cries over the lost baby pictures.
Well, it's a shame. You must have been adorable.
So Love takes Officer K to a further record center in the building and takes out a glass ball, which is actually recording.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
Just answer the question, please.
Officer K is curious about Rachael and sees a recording of Rick Deckard questioning her from the year 2019. You know, the same Tyrell Corporation setting when Eldon Tyrell was still around. So we ended here as Officer K notices that Rachael was never really a replicant and was easily infatuated by Rick Deckard in the recorded questioning tape. So the next scene, we're at a retirement home as we see Rick Deckard's former colleague or partner, Gaff, played by Edward James Olmos. A lot older here. Funny how he's talking here very confidently, whereas in the original Blade Runner movie he was pretty shy, spoke very less, and the only words that came out of his mouth was Bryant.
But he's no dish. Retired.
So now Kay wants to locate Rick Deckard, as Gaff says this. You know, Lieutenant Castillo from Miami Vice. Rick Deckard cannot be easily located as of right now. So back at the Wallace Corporation, as we see Love walking to meet the one and only Neander Wallace himself, played by Jared Leto. I mean, I just made a video on Fight Club too. He was also in that. As he has these mechanical blue eyes and now spits out a new replicant right now. And it's actually a naked girl who's still a human as Wallace takes a look at her. Now Love attaches a button-like feature on Neander Wallace's neck, and now this new soon-to-be replicant, and uses his telekinetic power to use these rocks to move around the naked girl. I'll skip that. So the moment he said the number 9, instantly made me think of the movie 9, the cartoon movie from 2009. I said 9 probably like 5 times now. So yeah, good stuff. Neander Wallace does look like one of those robots that do look like 9 here. Those mechanical light eyes, do the work. So Wallace kills this girl because it looks like she wasn't replicant material enough, and since he took over the Tyrell Corporation, Wallace wants 1 trillion more replicants in the making here. Wallace is all about innovation in the company, so whereas Tyrell was still pretty, relaxed. So back to work with the Blade Runners, kind of like the same spot where Rick Deckard first seen in the first Blade Runner while he was reading his newspaper. Officer K is having lunch. We see Love again undercover and tells his escorts to ask Officer K over there about the killing of Sapper Morton, Dave Bautista. So all 3 of them are going there to ask how he is, and 2 of them speaking in their foreign language. Now, Officer K is a Blade Runner, so they leave this escort here alone, and her name is Mariette, played by Mackenzie Davis, and she tries hard to let loose Officer K, but he wants to know her replicant serial number, and after hearing this.
You don't like real girls. Well, I'm always here.
Yeah, the Wallace Corporation supplies its own women. Holographic girls, free of charge. Well, actually, you do have to pay for it, but it's cheaper. Well, at least according to Officer K here. Officer K now goes back to Sapper Morton's house, and it's now a crime scene. And he goes to the piano and opens the inside of it. And we see this.
Suck.
Inside is a picture of a girl holding a baby, and that girl is, of course, Rachael when she was younger, holding her baby. Most likely Rick Deckard's daughter. Sean Young was already a lot older up until here in 2017, but you can tell it's a made-up picture, photoshopped and all that. So I'm guessing Sapper Morton killed Rachael from the original movie. That's why he has a picture in his piano. But Officer K is now back outside again near the very tree, where he found the yellow weed-like flower only to see a replicant serial number covered or carved on the tree's bottom area. Okay, it's definitely not Rachael since they already have her skeleton at Bladerunner headquarters, so this could be the daughter of Rick and Rachael's. And that serial number could also be the date of birth of the baby, 6/10/21, June 10th, 2021. And we already lived that day, month, and year already in real life. So back at Bladerunner Forensics, we see the doctor again walking in as Love as they're disguised as a worker, and even shows him the work paper permit that she can do this, and hits Coco on the head. And Love is stealing Rachel's skeleton, as Captain Joshi now tells Dr. Coco the forensic doctor is dead, as Officer K is now there and tells her he found a sock, and even questions the serial number or the date of birth very harshly. So they sit down, have a drink, and now questions his memories of him being a child. Sounds like Officer K may be a replicant himself too, and now a memory of him having a wooden toy horse and that other kids would take it away from him, and now this, as we see these guys running around in this flashback of Officer K from being a child, as he avoids these guys chasing him and places his wooden toy horse in the furnace and gets beaten by these other kids, and that's it. So back at Bladerunner headquarters, as Officer K now puts in the date of birth in his record machine as it responds back in Japanese. Now Officer K plays the Wallace Corporation jingle.
Run it raw.
Again, only to have Joy joining him, again inserted into him, and reveals that the date 6/10/21 is actually one of Officer K's childhood stories he's told Joy here. And that's the same date when it occurred running around the furnace while being chased around these other kids. And even shows a wooden toy horse that he liked. The same day Rachel's baby was also born too, the same date. So both times happened on the same date, June 10th, 2021. Coincidence, I know. So he matches the DNA codes together to see these numbers match, one belonging to a boy, the other a girl, and quickly notices one of them is not real. So the girl, the daughter, is dead. So that means Rachael had two kids, a boy and a girl. According to this stuff, the girl is dead and the boy has disappeared after doing further research. So that means Rachael had two kids with Rick Deckard for sure. So the two travel outside. Well, really, actually Officer K, since Joy is not really real, outside of Los Angeles. And so he travels outside of Los Angeles and into this garbage disposal land. As Officer K is driving around, we see these guys are launching weapons at him, and even a good shot that tampered with the car's inside technology, forcing Joy to log off for now. Wallace Corporation technology is pretty weak there. And now has his emergency landing and crashes into these metal junk pieces as the car is back on inside, including Joy, malfunctioning. And now we've got these demolition man-like people coming out to see Officer K, like the scraps from that Stallone movie. And that does his fancy moves. As missiles are being fired, and of course it's Love causing all this. Causing all this destruction from the comfort of her office while she's getting her nails done. She is looking for one of the children belonging to Rachael and Rick, since she knows everything. And now locks in the car since all the missiles are done firing, and now goes looking around. As he walks up this hill and sees this dome inside to see these kids who look like Shaolin monks who are touching Officer K weirdly. And his name is Mr. Cotton, played by Lenny James, as he gives Officer K a tour. And all these kids are desperate to be purchased by Officer K so that they can experience freedom outside of here. But Officer K is really here to look for the disappeared child, the boy, Rick and Rachel's son, and ended up working here and even hits Mr. Cotton to give him the details.
I think you can. I think someone like you keeps a long memory.
So he does, as Officer K now looks around Mr. Cotton's office building and opens up the book to see the record on the boy that has been ripped out. The pages that had the boy's records have been ripped out. So Officer K now looks further and looks here at this jail cell area to see it's the same place where he used to be at as a child and to see the same date again. Officer K was once here as a kid. So this is like an orphanage, but it's more like a torture chamber for children. So back at home with Joy, again, as she says his real name is Joe, maybe he could be that boy that disappeared from Rick and Rachael. Maybe Officer K is that missing son of theirs that became a Blade Runner.
Joe.
You're too important for Kay. Your father would. Joe.
So now he goes to see this Dr. Stelline, played by Carla Yuri. So she was originally turned into a replicant and talking about memories and authenticity, and now she shows memories have to be connected with feelings, exercise, and takes a look at Officer K's past memory of what happened on 6/10/21. And yes, he is now sad. And pissed. And now he's under arrest by Captain Joshi and back to his word and answer training session again because, he went to go see someone he shouldn't go see. And back in her office, and she is pissed off that Kay was at a place where he wasn't supposed to be at. And now he says he found the child, the son of Rick and Rachael, and that he was turned into a replicant, which is probably Officer K, in front of your very eyes. So back at home, I see this one following Officer K around as he tells Joy that she was right about everything, probably about the 6/10/21 and about the wooden toy horse. And here walks in Mariette again, since Joy is not real for him to have sex with. She does sink in with Mariette and to want so that he could experience pussy.
You liked her, I could tell. I want to be real for you.
You are real for me.
At this point, it's starting to look like that movie Her, the Joaquin Phoenix movie from 2013. But that doesn't take place, like this, right? So this is just getting weirder and weirder. So that's done as we see this ad of Joy, AI holographic girlfriend supplied by the Wallace Corporation. So we see a naked Mariette waking up, and now she touches the items in Officer K's room, since she is part of Love's plan, as Joy spots Mariette telling her that she can go after seeing her touch the toy horse. As Officer K is standing in the kitchen, as she notices that Mariette is not to be trusted, and tells Officer K that the Wallace Corporation will be after him for his memories, since he may be that little boy turned replicant, later on named Joe, that he is Rick and Rachel's disappeared son.
Break the antenna.
That means turning off Joy for good, but she comes along with the horse being examined with this guy speaking a foreign language I don't know of, probably Arabic, I don't know. But Officer K understood without actually speaking it, and vice versa with the guy examining the wooden horse, and have found a dirty place where K can go now. Here comes Love again. Probably look around K's apartment, Officer K's apartment. So K and Joy are looking at radiation traces on the screen of the car here and have now found something. While Love walks into Captain Joshi's office wanting to know where Joe is, or Officer K, since he is that replicant little boy from the past, after knowing all this. And Love crushes Joshi's hand, wanting to know where he is, as she kills Joshi. Yeah, it looks painful, but she says Officer K's number and name and locates him. At this point, the movie is pretty slow as we see Officer K walking this orange tinted environment and just sees a bunch of beehives. So casually puts his hand there and he just looks around his mansion for the next 2 minutes. And now we finally hear a familiar voice, but much older.
Close your eye. He reads.
And it's actually former Blade Runner Rick Deckard, 30 years later, played by Harrison Ford. Again, I just did a video on The Fugitive 2, recurring actors. As he has his Blade Runner gun pointed at Officer K, and this is his house actually, the radiation traces were let here, as Officer K just has some questions for Rick and does this. this point, after Kay steps on this floor mine like a landmine, Rick's house turns into a fun house with this holographic Elvis Presley performing, but it still shoots at Officer K around. Rick is not making it easy for Officer K, and he still hits back.
I like this song.
Yeah, I like that song too. So now they do agree for a drink as Rick says yes. Now pours a whiskey on the floor, now asks for his name, now wants to know the name of the woman who gave birth to his child.
I want to ask you some questions.
Like what?
Like, what was her name? The mother of your child. Why don't you just answer the question?
What question?
I didn't figure you as one for bullshit. What's her name?
Rachel.
Yeah, we knew. Now he says that his child was put into an orphanage, the slave place where the kids were working at, but he couldn't have found the child since he was hunted down, Rick, probably by Niander Wallace's replicants. So Rick leaves. Officer K listens to some Frank Sinatra
We're drinking, my friend.
as he looks at more wooden animal toys. And even a picture of Rachel is there too. Some more time goes by as K is relaxing Rick's dog there. Now a launched mini ship has been dispatched to Rick Deckard's mansion, as Rick knows something is nearby, since the Wallace Corporation knows that Officer K is here, as more Blade Runners have broken in to see that Rick Deckard and Officer K are being taken away, or they're guys that are posed as Blade Runners. But Rick and K fight these Blade Runners, or replicants posing as Blade Runners, sent by Love and Wallace. So there's about 30 minutes left of the movie. It is pretty long, and I probably have missed some things, but oh well. No one's perfect at walking through movies. So they fight back as Love comes out and starts kicking Officer K around. It even destroys Joy with that emanator.
I do hope you're satisfied with our product.
So Love leaves K as she takes Rick Deckard with him, since he is the last piece of evidence tied to Rachael and Rick, being Joe's dad, I think. Plus he knows everything about the replicant technology, Tyrell Corporation, that kind of stuff. And now with Officer K or Joe just laying there, and we see Mariette again too. So now we see some guys coming out, and yes, Mariette was all a plan all along, like I said, when she came to Officer K's apartment. We now meet a woman with a missing eyeball, probably whose missing eye that K had at the very beginning of the movie when he was at Sapper Morn's house, and I thought that was Sapper Morn's eye. And her name is Frieza, like the character from Dragon Ball Z, same name, played by Hayam Abbas. And Frieza and Sapper Morn actually hid Rick and Rachel's child together. Well, that child's Joe over here. Now more Frieza's people are closing in, and it's really looking like Demolition Man at this point with Edgar Friendly, and they are all against Niander Wallace, and she yells that Officer K must kill Rick Deckard. And now here's some disturbing things.
I dressed her in blue when it was time for her to go.
It was a boy that you hid.
You imagined it was you. Oh.
She? What do you mean she? Doesn't Officer K hear the child of Rick and Rachel have disappeared? Then the daughter died of some birth defect? So Joe over here isn't the son of Rick Deckard at all. Maybe he is. It's just a movie. I'm not going to take it too seriously, but whatever, it's fine. And all these guys behind Frieza were once slave children in that orphanage led by Mr. Cotton from before. So they're now turned into replicants later on in their lives. And Joe thought he was a kid who had disappeared. So now all those kids from his past memory are all grown up. And now we see Rick Deckard and Niander Wallace face to face in his fancy relaxation room. With about 20 minutes left of the movie. We're almost done, okay? Stay put. As Niander Wallace greets Rick and even shows his skull, which probably belongs to Rachel, and even plays the questioning period from the original movie.
Very. I'm Rachel.
Deckard. Did it never occur to you that's why you were summoned in the first place?
Rick feeling nostalgic, and Wallace also says that Rachel was designed simply for him as a trap so that he can fall for a replicant. So it looks like Rachel was both a replicant and a human. Or maybe she was a human with replicant-like software. And even brings out this young Rachael drone as Wallace describes her.
Do you? Well, I have millions.
Yeah, replicants. So here comes more of Wallace's replicants, which is, really love, coming from the back, and even Rachael, a clone of her, the younger Rachael from 30 years ago. I think you know why Sean Young wasn't called back for the sequel, since, either she didn't want to come back, or the other reason why, you know exactly what the other reason is. I don't have to tell you that. It's one way, old age is one way of putting it. That's why they kept her dead. And here comes out the young Rachael, but Rick is smart enough to point out that this is not the real Rachael he knew.
Don't you love me?
Her eyes were green.
It was hard to tell her eyes were green in the first movie. The lighting in that movie was just too dark. So as we see Officer K walking and hearing the Wallace Company jingle again, we see the public joy, billboard made for the public pointing out at Joe as she is naked, which I will skip. So watch that on your own. So yeah, one joy is enough to keep all the single guys in Los Angeles 2049 safe and comfy. Why do you think Niander Wallace was a billionaire selling joy, right? As Officer K now has a revenge plan while Love and Rick are being taken to Rick's home. So Officer K is attacking Love and Rick from behind as they crash in this water area, since Officer K has taken Freeze's word seriously about killing Rick Deckard. So Love kills Officer K and looks like he was the son. He was the son of Rick and Rachael's that disappeared. As far as we know as a viewer, Rachel's daughter died of a birth defect. But in a few moments from now, you will have even more questions. Now, Rick breaks free from this underwater stuff as Officer K now lives and kills Love once and for all by drowning her. No replicants were easily drownable, but Officer K didn't want to kill Rick Deckard now, as Rick searches for Officer K, fake death, and news for Niander Wallace.
You're free to meet your daughter now.
Who knows if there will be another Blade Runner movie coming out. Maybe there is, just haven't seen one yet. So now Rick finally meets his daughter, and he won't believe who it is, or at least he tries to make Rick think that this is his daughter to cover up that he may be Rick's son here, Officer K, or Joe, whatever you want to call him. Maybe Rachael was pregnant from a different man before or after Rick. Too many questions to ask with the same Blade Runner music playing when Rick was Rachael. And that's it. Blade Runner 2049 or 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve, or Denis Villeneuve, a Canadian director. He also directed Prisoners from 2013 with Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman. Great movie, check that out if you want. Leaving us off with a 13-minute credit ending. Pretty long movie. It didn't do too good at the box office. Maybe it was too long for people to watch. And I'm guessing attention spans were already going down since 2017. With the internet addiction starting to develop back then. I'll see you next time in 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Take care. See you soon. And watch away and check out the original Blade Runner 1982 if you haven't yet.